Hi, good morning, everyone. It's Richard and Anna. We're back for another live. The one earlier this week was well received, so we thought we'd do another one because a number of the questions that we
This
get
week was well received, so we thought we'd do another one because
Echoing.
there we go, a bit of an echo there, so let's get rid of that. So yeah, we thought we'd do another one based around balancing home education and work and just life generally, because I know this is a challenge for some people, and one of the common questions that I get asked is, well, how can I earn money as well whilst I'm whilst I'm home educating my children, and that was one of the reasons I set up the Homeschool Freedom Club to start with. So that's what we're going to cover today. We'll look at some ideas for earning from home, but first of all, we'll start at just looking at how to get that balance, because really, I think for us, home education is our life. We don't look at the education part
Absolutely.
as being separate from the other aspects of our lives. It's very much kind of combined in our everyday life, and I think that's when people look at getting into home education, that's one of the things that kind of frightens them, is they see everything as separate entities. Work's one thing, living your life's another thing, educating your kids is another thing, but actually it's all really, for us anyway, it's just the way the day goes. It's all part of our everyday life. So did you want to add anything onto that?
Just enjoying listening to you. Absolutely agree with this. And this question about life-work balance, it's quite, it's a very important question because it's about inner balance. We find life-work balance. We find balance between our pets and our parents. No, for example, if we have a contradiction, if we have opposite needs, one wants to help them, one side, another side wants to work with them. What I'm talking about, in our life, we always can find some forces that will, how you call it, tear us apart. Tear us apart. It's not a problem to find what will tear us apart. Maybe it will be your cactus and your studying. Maybe it will be your wife and your work. Maybe you will always, if you want to be in position where you are between some forces and you are in the middle, victim in the middle, you will find this. And if you are in adult position, if you are strong enough to accept reality and to write your scenarios in this life, then you will find solution. Let's talk today about life-work balance, but take this in mind, that whatever conflict you have in your head, because it comes from the head, you can solve it. Just look from different perspective. It's easier to say than to do. Every family, every person have its own conflicts. Just like an introduction. But let's talk about life-work balance. How we solve this question? For example, we have each of us have our own interests, hobbies. For example, I like to go to studio to draw, to paint.
I like to cook.
Richard loves to cook. And this started, by the way, both. No, it started from my school age, but I forgot for a long time. But it started in our marital life. It started during pandemic. Thanks to pandemic, a lot of things came to the surface, and it helped us to find ourselves and to find our balance, inner balance and balance in the family. For example, I like to study languages. Now I study Greek. with my all heart, my pleasure. I just love Greek language studying. You sometimes you go, I don't know, to watch rugby
Yeah,
to the
head off down the pub.
local pub with English mates. I go with my Russian moms. Usually it's moms to go to, I don't know, again to paint
You
and
go
some other.
dancing sometimes.
Yeah,
or-
Latina dances.
Yeah, like I go cycling first thing in the morning. I get
Mhm.
up quite often as well. So.
You think it's meditation.
Yeah,
You like
absolutely.
meditation. I like to go to the church for the Sundays, Russian Orthodox Church. So we are different, but we have like spheres of life. Let's say that our personal spheres of life.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you don't like painting. You don't go. You know, Maxim, who's my art teacher, but we are not going. We are not always all together. I don't go to the pub to watch football or rugby. It's not my theme.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you know my girls, I know your friends, but it's separate spheres. So we each of us have its sphere of life. It's very important, I think, for family life that not everything. No, I will draw it. Not if to imagine us like circles. So some spheres are connected, but some spheres are even not connected. So no, sometimes this scheme works. Sometimes sometimes we are more connected. Yeah, you understood. But always there is loft, there is space where you can be only yourself, not with your kids, not with your spouse. And this gives very important energy in the whole family. For example, when I go to my language courses, this is time for Richard to be with our kids.
Yeah.
So you create something interesting in the couple, in the pair. For example, sometimes when I have Greek lesson, Sonia goes to ballet lesson. So for Richard, it's time only for two of them.
For me with Alex.
Richard and Alex. When Richard goes somewhere where he likes to go, for me it's time for our breakfasts, for example, with kids, or our movie night, again with kids. So it's very important to. Some of my friends, they call it, and you create the whole mosaic. To create this mosaic when you have time together with your loved one in pairs. First of all, for yourself, time for yourself. Do you remember last time we were talking, I said that it's constitutional right to have time for yourself. This is the base. Everything starts with this. Second step, time in the pairs. And only after this, time with all of us.
And by pairs, you mean as husband and wife, as father and son, as mother and son, as father and daughter,
and siblings,
and daughter,
and also siblings
together. Yeah.
For example, now we are running our life, and our kids, they have time together for them. It's their pair.
Yeah.
They are happy playing. And here it's very.
We hope they'll be happy playing.
I do know that they will be happy. If something happens, of course, we will help them because they are kids. But when the relationships are nourished in the family, is it clear what is it? Nourished relationships. I think it's a Theraplay term. Again, I'm talking in Theraplay principles, but I cannot avoid talking about.
I think you mean when everybody's in resource. So
in
everybody
resource,
has what they need to function.
Yes, and for kids, it's very important to be nourished, to go away from the adults. Before you let them go to any lesson, any club, any activity that is for them, you need to nourish them so that their nerve system doesn't solve the problems. Why did my mom shout at my dad in the morning? Why did my dad was grumpy last evening? When the situation in the family is in conflict, difficult. I'm sorry, I have a little bit of cough, sore throat or cough. Time of flu in Cyprus, I think everywhere. Then it's overload the nerve system of any child. To nourish your child, it means to give them that energy that everything is okay. I am your alpha. I care about you. Adult person is in alpha position. So it's not child who should solve the problem in the family. Again, I think it's difficult, but I hope if I say something difficult, then
Please
just
put
ask.
something in the comments. Yeah.
Let's be in the dialogue. This encourages us. So you give energy. Even this morning, we were playing the whole morning. We were playing and feeding and in contact, body contact, eye-to-eye contact with our children. So now we know that they are nourished. We gave them energy that everything is safe. Our relationships are safe.
And this gives them the stability to go off and play
Stability,
in peace,
yes.
whilst we're doing this. So.
And again, if we are talking about life-work balance, I think every parent, every mom or dad want to have some space in the house, even when all are present in the house, but everyone make its own business, have its own business. So to nourish your children, it's like to seize the risk of constant nagging. Mom, look at this. Mom, I have done this. Mom, play with me. Mom, dad. When relationships are stabilized, balanced, nourished, again this word, then the children are happy to go and to play by themselves. Sometimes you tell them, Lyosh, let's play together. No, Mom, let me play. I want to play by myself. This is the answer I want. And I want this in future life also. I want healthy separation, because this helps in future for healthy separation with our kids. And this is our parental responsibility to create base for healthy separation between all generations. No, Mom, I will be safe by myself. I'm happy to be by. Now I need time alone. This is the answer that I want to hear from my kids. I know why I was silent. Because when I start talking, I cannot stop, and then I have cough.
I was going to ask you actually, because obviously we're talking about this from the position of being a couple, but there are a lot of single parents out there,
Yes.
and which I don't know. I've not been in that position, but would you say that makes it harder to attain that balance and to nourish yourself? And if so, how would you deal with that?
Sometimes I always say to my moms who come to my to consultations that the more difficult situation you find in your life, maybe to be a single mom, it's difficult for you. Maybe you find it's a tragedy if you have an invalid child who's an invalid. It is tragedy. It's very difficult, but in different families, different attitude to this fact. Maybe you are in difficult relationships, in abuse, in different, maybe in poverty, maybe in illness. Different life is complicated. So the more difficult you find your situation in your life, yourself, the more focus on yourself, on your resource level, energy level.
Because we can't give our kids what we don't have.
Yes, the more difficult it is for you, more efforts to look around and to look at not at the difficulties but at yourself, at your soul. How what do you like? What taste of toothpaste do you like in the morning? What you prefer? To ask always yourself, what do I like? What do I want to go, or do I want to stay home? What do I want to cook? What do I want? Do I want to read, or do I want to make sport, play sport games? Do I want now to play with kids, or do I want to go and to sleep? Always to look at yourself. Only when you nourish yourself, then the process is the same. The mechanism works in every situation the same. Look at yourself, put on, how do you call in the plane? This mask,
Oxygen mask.
oxygen mask on yourself, then on the child, not vice versa. The mechanism is the same. But of course, again, I repeat, it's easier to say than to do. And sometimes the problem why people come to psychologists, because they cannot change their perspective. Because if I'm in relationships where, I don't know, my parents are abusing me, I'm an adult person and my parents are abusive, are not supportive, and my dog is ill, then it's a tragedy. It's a tragedy. It's real. It's a very difficult situation. In the situation where I must go and study, I feel that this is my purpose. But my wife wants money, or is ill, or no, whatever. All these oppositions, conflicts, they are very difficult. And our purpose is to change perspective. Now I always say, look at the situation in Israel, Palestine, in Gaza. That is new perspective. That gives new perspective, I think. Sometimes this happens. Yeah, with Zoom.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because we say something very correct. Pay attention. I hope that what I say now is not cause for arguments. Because of course it can be. Everything can be reason for arguments. But anyway, let's continue. So life-work balance. When we have our hobbies, interests, when we acknowledge it for ourselves and for each other, then we give space not only for ourselves, but also for other members of our family to spend time for them together without us. This is very interesting and important dynamic in family life. And Theraplay lets kids to play by themselves. This is what parents need. And this is what how it magically works. When relationships are nourished, this works smoothly. Oh,
I was going to say also, I think one big key to this is communication, isn't it? It's if you're in a marriage or in a relationship, you need to be communicating with each other what your needs are as well. There's no point expecting the other person to guess.
Yes,
what
we
you
are
need.
not magicians.
Yeah. And if you feel resentment building because you're not getting what you need, is that because you're not communicating your needs properly to the person that you're with, and opening that dialogue so you can both talk about it? Because once one person opens that door, then it obviously you can both step through it and make sure that everybody has what they want.
Sometimes even in the same space. One goes to your bedroom, you meditate, kids are playing in their bedroom. They're together. I'm, for example, working, I'm in my space. Sometimes to leave the house, sometimes to walk, to look around the world.
But a key to this is part of this also is organisation. I mean, Anna and I, we have a diary, a calendar that we share. So if I've got calls, I put them in the calendar. She knows that I'm going to be busy at that time. Hey, Sonia. She knows that I'm going to be busy at that time, and that she's either going to be with the kids or something like that. So, we do sometimes sit down at the end of the day and talk about the next day and what's happening, or at the start of the day and have a chat about what's happening and who's doing what. Some people I know do this on a Sunday night and sort themselves out for the week. We're not quite that organised, but it's just about dialogue and communication. And Oliver's put an understanding that we may not always be able to understand one another. Hi Oliver. Hi Debbie, Cindy, Tony. Lovely to see you. So yeah, it's
one another. Yeah, to understand one another. This is the question of communication.
Yeah.
I think that the better you understand yourself, the better you can. We had some problems in communication. We had a period of our family life when we couldn't maybe articulate clear enough.
And not only that, I mean, we have the added challenge of there being sort of a language barrier. I mean, Anna speaks excellent English, but it's still, I can say something that she can still take the wrong way.
Do I have an accent?
but it's just not, it's not that I've intended to offend, but it's been taken wrong, or it just because there is that slight friction there in communicating. And so that also is something we have to kind of bear in mind and communicate really clearly, as well as something we've learned. But we do communicate very well generally.
Now I think that I understand you better than some Russian speakers.
Yeah. But that's taking practice.
I think it's extra linguistic level.
Mm-hmm.
So to understand each other, it's a very good question. Sometimes it's difficult to understand each other. For example, I never had depression. As a psychologist, of course, I know this condition, and as a psychologist, I know that this condition is treated medically. So doctors need to treat it. And my husband had depression, and he told me about this. And I couldn't realize seriously how painful it was for him. So it was a difficult time for us. Now I understand that it was my mistake at some steps, that I didn't consider this as serious as I could.
Yeah, but we got there.
Yes, and it was difficult. It's a difficult time when we don't understand each other. But when we both make steps forward to not one, yes, or another comes, but both make steps and work and try to and believe in love.
Yeah,
I think for us what helped, it's just we didn't have doubts that at the end of the day we love each other. We want to be with each other. I think deep inside this is the answer.
Yeah, absolutely.
I had one, he was a psychiatric, serious doctor in Russia, in Moscow, and he said that relationships, they have seasons. And one of the seasons is frozen winter. So sometimes in in long-term relationships, winter happen with beautiful, paintings of frost on the windows, but inside everything is frozen. Picture is beautiful, but frozen. But after every winter, spring comes. It's not my words, but I remember them so well. Oi, Oliver, good question, but I think love helps to articulate, to express yourself. Maybe not only in words, maybe in dances, maybe in paintings, to express yourself in different ways.
But I think also it's not only a case of not understanding each other as a couple, it's understanding your children as well. I mean, we've certainly had our challenges with ours, because they're not us, they're very different from us, and you don't always understand what's going on in their heads, and maybe you don't have to. Maybe it's a case of just accepting that they are as they are. I think it is a case of accepting that they are as they are and just getting on with it, because and not trying to mold them into who you want them to be.
With the children, it's a very interesting, yes, angle. As parents, we want to give as much as possible to our children. To nourish our children, sometimes we become fanatics in nourishing. We only nourish. And it turns out at some point you come to the feeling that, Mama Mia, I gave so much, but it's like bottomless barrel.
Mm-hmm.
Can you say this in
bottomless pit? Yeah.
So you pour water there, and everything goes to the sand. Nothing is remained there. And sometimes you feel frustration or disappointment. Mamma mia, I cannot give anymore. Sometimes you feel this. And to answer this question, because I had this feeling, and again, Theraplay helped me, because Theraplay gave me, if not every answer, but a lot of answers for my mother's questions. The art of parenting is not to nourish only, to nourish your child, but to feel, to see the needs the child has, and to give him not all of you. Otherwise, he will be in this on the rubble, in rubbish, maybe rubble, but not to drown your child with yourself, with your mother's care, but to see his needs.
And I'll just put an interesting comment there, and not to feel guilty as a parent if you can't understand everything that your child is processing, and for the child to know that mum and dad don't understand everything that we feel.
No, for example, with Alex, now he's 8 and we can talk, and he understands when we sincerely talk about these difficult feelings. Yesterday we had such conversation.
Yeah.
So we talk to him, and it's very nourishing for for us.
And it can be hard for us because we're an emotional family. Actually, all four of us are very emotional. And so, it can be hard to strike that balance sometimes, and sometimes you just need to take a step back and think on it. And so, there was something kicked off the other evening, and we basically chose to talk to him about it the next morning, because it just, at that time we were all tense and and tired, because it was right at the end of the day, and and you just have to pick your moments, I think, as well, to talk about these things.
And just to accept that every person, every soul, it's cosmos, and you cannot, even if we have this illusion that we understand each other, we just love each other. But of course we cannot understand cosmos of each other, universe, and to accept that we love our children, but it doesn't mean that we should understand every corner of their soul. They have their own life, their spheres of interest that don't, like what we started talking today, yes, with these spheres. So we can have separated, not separate, like spheres of life that are not our concern, maybe even. No, it's too much, not a concern, I think, with children. Like to be polite enough, to be sensitive enough, to trust. I think it's a question of trust. Just to let him live his life in love and support. To continue the theme about life and work balance. Our kids have their clubs, lessons, and time when they are studying or
Mm.
entertained.
Yeah.
And this also gives us space to work, for example, or to do what we want to do. But
Mhm. But no, I was also going to say that there are times when we ask for help, for people to take the kids for a
yes,
period of time so that we can get some time together, because it's very rare we actually go out as a couple, for
mm-hmm,
example, which is something that you need as a part of your relationship.
mm-hmm.
So we do ask friends to babysit occasionally, and so you shouldn't be afraid to go out there and ask other people to help you, family members or friends or whoever, if they can take your kids for a bit, just so you can have a bit of space.
Consciously to schedule your life the way you have time for this couple, spousal couple, or no, let's say personal relationships.
Or your own personal space if you're a single parent, your
Mm-hmm.
own.
Of course, clubs and lessons help, but also neighbors and friends, they help not less. You need to ask, and if you feel resistance, if you feel that all people around me are busy with their life, they have enough occupations, why they should help me? Uh, I don't want. I don't know how. All these excuses, they show that you are closing your heart, and it's this condition to be closed. This condition is very close to depression. People in depression, they don't want to communicate, they don't want to ask for help, they don't want to um, contact the world. When we are in balance, when we are nourished, this is the main word of today's meeting. When we are nourished, we are living with open heart, and we are able to find in mm, on the playground, in the parish, in the kids clubs, parents of the clubs, with the neighbors, with teachers, whoever are around you, you will find people who can help you to bring some food when you are ill, to take your children when you need space. Mm. Just be aware if you have resistance to ask asking help, resistance to ask for help. Think think about your inner motivation. Why you have this resistance? Is it family scenarios, or do you have pain inside that doesn't let you go out and to contact the world? Do you trust the world? All these questions, ask yourself. And then, if you answer them, maybe it will be easier in life work balance. Mm. Mm.
Have anything else on that? Or should we move on
No,
to the
I
next one?
maybe to say that again, Theraplay helps to resolve the inner traumas that we have sometimes from our childhood. And if we don't trust world, not only not only in the situation, you understand this, not only in situations when you are afraid to ask for help. You don't want to contact the world when you are a single parent and you don't want new acquaintances with opposite sex. Yes, you don't want new relationships. When you are living as a family, spousal life, but you don't communicate with your friends, you you are afraid, you realize that world is so hostile, and it's safer inside your home. The world is very hostile, and home is really the safest place, but this home is inside your soul. So soul is the safest place, not the home. Theraplay covers this pain, and playing with your child, you realize, Theraplay helps not to fix your child. Theraplay helps in the first turn. Theraplay helps us, adults. These games, they nourish our soul. For example, if we are parents who are screaming at our children, this screaming means in the first sign of empty heart. Empty, I mean, not balanced, not nourished, not the words.
I think that's the picture. Yeah.
You scream at your child only when you have this. Do you have like a German bakery? What Bregel?
Bagel.
And with the poppy seeds on it.
Yeah.
So what is inside? You call it a hole.
Yeah, the hole in the middle.
In Russian, we also have bublik. It's called bublik. So when it's heart is like this hole inside this bakery. Dyrka от бублика. When the heart is empty and not full of energy, empty with energy, then we scream. Then we scream at our children.
Because we're lacking in resource.
Absolutely. So don't blame yourself when you scream at your children or in adult relationships. Don't blame yourself. Just be aware that this is a sign of lack of energy. So don't drown yourself in guilt. Just care about yourself. And then you stop screaming. Theraplay helps to resolve your traumas, to unblock your inner pains.
What would you say to parents that sort of have like a resistance to playing with their kids? I mean, with the children.
Resistance to play?
Yeah.
Like when there is time to play, but no, I better switch on gadget for them. Yes, this?
Yeah. Just generally not feeling, not really, childish games or,
yes, these are childish again. And also, you are already in the bedroom with them. They're asking, they're asking to play, and you just don't have fantasy what to play with them.
No, yeah.
I would say that you, for some reason, I don't know the reasons, but for some reasons, you don't allow yourself, or you don't allow yourself to step into the stream of creativity, into the stream of life energy. Because game, when you are playful, it's a sign of life. Sexual relationships, it's also play. Money, relationships with money, it's also play. It's a game. Good spousal relationships, it's a good game. We play roles.
Yeah.
The same with and it starts in our childhood. So when we cannot play with our kids, most likely you cannot earn money. I would say most likely you cannot let yourself to make something creative, to take risk. Again, remember Theraplay, to trust the world, to take risk, to nourish your relationships with yourself, with the money, with the children, with your parents, with your spouse. you cannot be engaged for some reason. This block of Theraplay engagement. There in the play games, we adults. These games are not for children. We adults. We study how to engage, how to create something new, how to, for example, we like to bake with our kids, and Alex is drawing, not writing, but drawing the recipes for his cakes. Drawing like schemes. Oliver, by the way, maybe it's like a footnote. We should show you what it looks like. Now I have this association. So he is drawing his recipe, and then he makes his own bread or cookie or anything what he likes. Of course, this dough, I hope they don't hear us. Of course, this dough is not perfect. Of course, they add there, for example, juice of orange, yes, orange, instead of something else. And the dough is with the lumps and very, very nice child dough. Yes.
Yeah.
And we bake it. So what I want to say now, that let them be creative, let them be with you. Theraplay, it's about togetherness. Let them be with you in one kitchen. Let them be creative. To be together, it doesn't mean that they do everything after your instruction. They don't follow all the time your instruction. No. Let them be in their streams. Be together in the stream of creativity. You have your dough, they have, each of them, their dough. It's okay if there is mess in the kitchen. To clear the flour, it's not so difficult, honestly. The same like with playing dough. It's not terribly difficult. So just let them be creative. The fact, if you are always tired, don't want these childish, just rubbish activities. If you are irritated, they do Lego not following instructions. Red part should be in the blue part, not yellow, and so on. It tells you about your traumas, not mistakes of your children. It tells you clearly about your inner condition. So Theraplay helps you. It fixes you, not your child. And it fixes relationships, of course. If you are mindful, if you are conscious, I'm so sorry. When you play Theraplay, I always give this recommendation to take video. To take video how you play. Because micro mimics, micro gestures, how do you look at the child, how he makes everything is wrong, everything, camera catch everything, your intonations, how you communicate. And when you look at yourself afterwards, you realize, mashallah, do I want to play with this mom? Probably not. Probably my mom should work first with herself. Not with.
Yeah, with herself. Yeah.
With herself?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm afraid already.
Yeah. So I guess the sort to tie this up is what we're saying here is that that nourishing your relationships with your children will help you in all aspects of balancing your work-life relationship, because you want kids that are going to be able to play on their own. Obviously, if you've got very young children, then it's not going to be possible, but as they get older, it is. And so a very big part of this balance of all aspects of your life is underpinned by the relationship that you have with your children, with your spouse. It's all down to the relationships that you have.
Absolutely. But probably when we talk about life-work balance, a lot of our your subscribers they want to listen what I remember the questions that you received, that what activities, what job I can do, what work I can choose, how it fits with homeschooling. So maybe
I mean,
you answer this question.
I mean, the simple fact is that one thing the pandemic showed us is that you can do the vast majority of jobs from home. Okay, so maybe if you're looking to home educate, but your boss is, you go into an office, maybe there's an opportunity to talk to your employer and say, okay, can I do this? Can I perform this role at home for several days a week? Even if it's not full time at home, but maybe that's an opportunity to look at, because we found this. I mean, I was running my own company, and COVID, killed it. I had it for about 15 years. It was an event management company, and it died overnight. And so, we had to get creative in ways to earn a living. So that hasn't really been an issue for our family. But I know a lot of people that were just performing their job functions from home. So maybe there's a way to look at that. But there are so many opportunities out there with the internet. And I've actually put together a little ebook with sort of 100 ideas in it, that I'll happily send out. So just put a comment in, just request it, and I'll send it on to you. Because I'm currently, I started off looking at cryptocurrency as a way to earn a living. The last couple of years has been tough in crypto. The last year particularly has been hard. With platforms disappearing, and so passive income is quite often the first thing that people look at. But I can tell you from experience, it is not the easiest route forwards. It's great when it works. It's fantastic when it works. But more often than not, what we found is that these passive income systems don't. They just disappear, and you're left with nothing. That's your income gone. And so I set up a group, Homeschool Freedom Club, to try and sort of help people find ways to earn from home, so that they could be at home and have the choice as to whether the freedom to decide whether they wanted to home educate their kids or not, and to be able to do that, because everything's contingent upon choice, and upon freedom. But to have that freedom, you need a firm financial backing, don't you? And it's increasingly hard to find that. So this book's got all sorts of ideas in it. I mean, there's all kinds of things you can do from home. What are your I mean, the thing to do would be to look at, what do you love doing? What are your talents? Where do they lie? And there's a fantastic process called ikigai, and it's a Japanese expression, and it's about finding your purpose. And what prompted this was a group of researchers went into a village in Japan where they had the highest incidence of centenarians, so people over 100 years old, and they asked these people what the key to their longevity was. And they basically came back with ikigai. And it's about finding your purpose, finding your meaning in life. And these people, even though they were over 100 years old, they didn't stop doing what they loved. Okay, and it doesn't have to be tied up with a job, but it's helpful if it is, obviously. And what ikigai is, you look at the things that you love to do, you look at what the world actually needs, look at what you can get paid for, and then look at the things that you're good at. And it's essentially, it's where these things intersect that you find your ikigai, and there's a whole process for that. And actually, that's another ebook that I have that I can actually send on to people if you want it. So just specify if you want the ikigai book or the jobs book, but it will help you to sort of pin down really what you can do from home. I mean, there's all sorts of things. There's copywriting. Maybe you're good with words. Maybe you want to set up an e-commerce business. There are so many ways of doing this now through things like fulfillment by Amazon, for example, which is something I'm currently exploring. I know it's a dirty word for a lot of people, but network marketing, if it's done with integrity and it's done with heart, and you're selling products that will help people, then why not do that? Because what you're looking for is jobs that you can fit into the nooks and crannies of your day. So as we've just been talking about, the times when you've got an hour when your kid's at kids club, or they're off out with friends, or just when your partner can take the kids and give you a bit of time out. You want jobs or work that can fit into these, that you can just do little bits and pieces here and there, to start making a living. Maybe you're at work and you're thinking, well, this is great, but I'm working full time. Look at start doing things in the evening. Look at your lunch hours. What can you do during your lunch hour to actually start and kick something off and just start to move the ball forwards? Because if you don't make a start, you're never going to go anywhere at the end of the day. And it's about having that determination to kind of get there. Some people look at forex trading or crypto trading as a way forwards. It's, again, it requires a lot of discipline. And forex trading, I can tell you, is it's 90% mindset. It's all about not getting greedy, but these are things that you can look at. And I mean, there's just literally hundreds and hundreds of ways that you can work from home. But one of the most important things I find is just to be organized in this. So, what we were saying, what Anna and I were just talking about talking to each other at the end of each day or at the beginning of the day to figure out where we've got time during the day to work on what we need to work on to make money. And then to have something like a daily method of operation, which sounds very formal, but essentially it's just something where you write down what you need to do on any given day, so that you're not just sitting there blankly looking at the screen when you've got half an hour. You can actually get on and you can be productive and you can actually do things.
It's about procrastination.
As
Do
well.
you remember
Yeah.
what we were talking about with Liz?
Yeah.
Self-procrastination. Just be mindful, and then you find. I work online as a psychologist. I give consultations and I record some courses online. So this is my income in Russian, both in Russian and English. And you can not, of course, now it's time when we are flexible with professions. We can study all lifelong. But I always study, if not talking about languages, but in my profession. So originally I was a speech therapist, then psycholinguist, then psychologist. All this cognitive science. It's my interest, my hobby, and my work, and I'm with all my heart in this theme. So you shouldn't change your profession to work as a homeschooling parent. Sometimes you save your area of interest, but just make it online. Before pandemic, I was 100% offline person. All my conferences, all my everything where I all activities where I participated, they were on paper. No, everything was not digital. And now everything is digital. Everything.
But I think also to not be afraid of exploring new areas. A lot of it is, as I was just saying, it's around mindset. I mean, I've had several different careers. I'm 52 now. I only started learning crypto 5 or 6 years ago, for example, because it interested me. It wasn't something I'd ever looked at before. And now I'm looking at fulfillment by Amazon as a business. That's something I've never done before, and it's something that's new and exciting and that I want to do. I've never run a Facebook group before, So it's never too late to actually start something new for yourself. But it all starts up here really, and it all depends on you and how you view the world, and if you're prepared to get out there and actually try new things. And people I know that are actually selling their artwork. They started it as a hobby, or they make jewelry, or they are network marketing. They're selling cosmetics or kitchenware, or I'm with Manifest, so we sell educational products to help people actually earn a living. To learn how to do e-commerce, to learn how to trade foreign exchange, to learn how to buy properties and to flip them with and put no money down and things like that. So there are so many ways out there. But as I say, I've got an ebook with a whole bunch of suggestions in it as to work that you can kind of carry out from home, that you can fit into the sort of the odds and ends of your day that you have when you've got kids around full time. because and as I say, look at ikigai as well. If you're just really stuck and you don't know what you want to do, then use the ikigai process to maybe set you on the correct path and at least give you some ideas. Just take a bit of time out in peace and quiet. And the exercise doesn't need to take more than half an hour, really, and just sit and do that. And like I say, I've got a book on that as well, so do ask. So
I think we should be organized, as we say.
Yeah,
and our little ones will demand attention soon.
Yeah.
If this meeting was useful for you, we are waiting for your reactions and questions and comments.
Yeah.
And stars. Or hearts, sorry.
You can send stars as well. Well, look, everybody that's joined us today on the live, thank you very, very much for being here. We really appreciate it. I know it's an hour on a Saturday morning. Oliver, yeah, absolutely. I'll send you those 2 books with pleasure. And thanks for watching us. And as I say, come and talk to us. If you want to chat with Anna more about Theraplay, please do ask questions. She has an advent calendar as well, with different Theraplay games for each day leading up to 24th, and games to nourish mothers.
Exactly. It's not, yes, yeah. and fathers. Yeah. Not only the games, but also practices for us adults, how to use aromatherapy, mandala, a lot of different techniques. Just don't be passive. Don't procrastinate. Be active. Make steps. Information is around you. Ask for the help. Buy advent calendar. It's only
15 euro.
15 euro, around 10 pounds. No, what is it? Black Friday till 30th of November lasts. Catch this opportunity. Just be proactive and trust the world, I wanted to say, but you can trust the world only when you are in tune with yourself. So in tune with yourself and trust the world. And there won't be, it's like circle composition. There we come back where we start, to that point where we started. All these illusions of opposition, life work, personal life work, opposition, your parents, your children, or your husband, different situations, to find oppositions much easier than to be in balance. Happiness, it's inner work. Balance, it's inner work. So do this, it's worth it. I hope that our meetings are useful. We will be waiting for your comments to continue. If you ask questions, we will continue, because this meeting was thanks to your questions, and we will be happy to answer further questions. Yeah.
Thank you very much, everyone. Lovely to see you be on here, and anybody else that's watching the replay, let us know, and it's been a pleasure. Take care, everyone. Have a lovely weekend.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.